Hey, good morning, everybody. Hey, I'm Damion Young with the DNS show, and over there is Shay. You want to say good morning to him, Shay?
Good morning, people. Good morning.
All right. Well, Shay, I wanted to sit and have a conversation with you this morning about. I was just reviewing, some of the episodes, and you were making the comment from one of your episodes and everything. You said it's time for us to make a name for ourselves as Afro Americans in Vancouver, Washington. Can you
Mhm.
elaborate a little bit more on that this morning?
Yeah. So really that comment came from just a place of trying to reflect on what we have to do and what is making noise right now. And I think we're in a as bad as the conditions may be or as troubling as it may sound, I think we're in a better position than we have been in the past. And I only say that because we finally have all eyes on us. Right? It feels like finally people don't have a choice but to look at the facts, whether they like to take note of them or not. Um, and so we're making steps slowly but surely.
Okay, all right. You said we're making steps slowly but surely and everything. And you said, I asked you the question, what are some of the things that you see happening in our community in Vancouver?
See, okay, so the community word is hard for me because Vancouver, it seems like a small town. But with small towns, usually it seems easier to get people together, groups of people together. And I can't name, I know we are talking about like a place for like black people to go ahead and get together, a safe place, an environment where it's free from judgment, free from just overall society stigmas. And off the top of my head, it's sad and I cannot think of one. And I think that's a problem. And like you were saying before, I know we talked about a little bit about ownership and just uh, black owned businesses and really getting the idea that we weren't really taught that that's something we could have, or we weren't really shown that that's something we could do. It was more of working for this person, or the highest level you were to accept was not that of the CEO or opening it, but a manager, which there's nothing wrong with it. But what I like to ask you is, can you think of off the top of your head, and this could be anywhere from nonprofits, small businesses, anything and in between, retail, whatever, two black owned spaces uh, that could be used for just a community gathering or community collaborations, a place for us to go and hang out.
It's funny, Shay. I don't. I know a lot of us in our community right now. We are suffering under those aspects and everything. We don't have a tangible building per se where it's like we know we can operate out of that building and everything. Even as a church planter, I'm forced to operate out of community centers or places that would allow me to come there. And even sometimes, even that's challenging for me as a church planter and everything because there's a lot of politics or whatever, and this, that, and the other, or people, to be transparent and everything, if they like your message and everything, and so
That
it's not
part.
always that, hey, I'm well received and everything because hey, I'm preaching a message of Jesus and everything. But when you go back to what you're talking about, do I know of a lot of people in Vancouver? No, I don't. And so I feel like it's a void that has not been met.
You said something interesting there too, and I think a lot of people watching this can relate in the fact that, so would you say that whoever you are, let's say, asking to collaborate with, or it's not even necessarily asking them to do something for you, just having a conversation about potential possibilities, whether that's business, relationships, whatever, do you feel like you have to modify who you are, your brand, depending on who you're asking the favor of?
um Yes and no. Usually, depending on who I'm dealing with and everything, I'm not going to, first and foremost, downplay Jesus or anything. But when it comes to the strategic side of what I do and everything, being a church planter, I'm going to lean more towards who I'm dealing with, to make it a win-win for us. Does that make sense? It's like it's got to be a win-win for both individuals.
It has
I
to
got to
be.
be able to, connect the dots and everything.
But for me, I think the scary part is we were taught many of things in school that probably most of us forgot by now. But important things like this and credit and ownership and just a lot of the things that when you grow up and you're adulting, you realize, holy cow, I have no idea about this.
Right.
It's sad to me that we're not taught those things. And then on top of that, you don't ever build enough armor to go into these things while being black. I mean, so then you have to get older to realize that you might face different type of situations, hardship or not, just by being yourself. Have you felt like you faced any of those disparities or those challenges just starting your church?
Yes, I have. I feel like, as an Afro American church planter and everything, we don't get the same funding as other ethnicities and everything. And the reason we don't get that funding and everything is because we are Afro Americans and everything. And so there's still systematic racism even in the church and everything. And that's one of the things that I fight against. You know, as being the chair of religious affairs and everything, is for to get systematic racism out of church. What do I mean by systematic racism out of churches and everything? Because it's okay for us Afro Americans to be the black face in ministries and everything, but then when you talk
Absolutely.
about, like you use the word, the CEO and everything, or the buck stops with him, that's a whole nother matter and everything, because it comes down to, sometime I feel like, can we control that individual? Can we put money behind that individual rather than, hey, saying, okay, let us find out what this Afro American leader um, is doing and what are some of the needs of their community, and get behind them, financially and everything.
It's
Um,
already a preconceived label of what you're capable of or what you represent, it sounds like. And I never knew that happened in churches, to be honest. And that's just me not knowing a lot about that type of environment. But to hear that there's, I mean, I know there's systematic racism in pretty much, I have to be careful with my wording, but I would say in a majority of things we talk about, there's going to be some underlying feelings about that. But to hear that you would have any problems with funding based off of being an African American church blows my mind. And that kind of leads us back to what I was asking. Maybe I should have asked it differently, is modifying your message or your brand. I don't think that's right to have to do that. But in order for you to have a sustainable church, it kind of sounds like you either have to uh, go in and appease who you're asking of, meaning persuade in a way that helps the people you're trying to represent. I mean, in all honesty, that's what it comes down to, right?
that's
But
right.
have you had the chance to ask of a higher black owned church planter a collab or anything like that? Or do you mostly deal with Caucasian church owners or planters?
Good question and everything. I don't know of any in my network of contacts and everything, of other Afro American church planters per se, that I'm in contact with that
In
could,
Vancouver or
huh?
overall? Just in Vancouver overall.
Just overall, and even in Vancouver.
Oh,
You know,
that's
I have, man, I've got a brother in the ministry and everything, Pastor Mark Westbrooks and everything. He is a Afro American church planter out here. He planted Humble Beginnings AME Zion Church and everything. And so, but as far as us knowing of other Afro Americans that are planting churches that have the
like recognition.
resources to be able to help us with the sustainability needed for our churches and everything. No,
That's scary. Because it almost seems like you're fighting a battle alone, an uphill battle.
that's right.
Unless you're in the room with someone, out of all the people in the world, you happen to be sitting across from someone who has the exact same blueprint and beliefs as you. That's scary. That's
That's
a real, I mean, that's alarming. That's almost as alarming as some of the other issues going on.
That's right. That's right. And so that's why, hey, you see me out here doing what I'm doing and everything. And, you know, not alone in everything. There's plenty of members and, of Seeds of Greatness and everything. And they've got my back and other people in the community and everything. And that's why we're
The
pushing the
village.
way we've been pushing and everything. Yes. Is it a long, hard, has it been a long, hard journey and everything? Yes, it has. We'll eventually win in the end and everything. But that was one of the reasons I was talking to you this morning, when it was like, you're like, hey, I got an idea and everything, and I'm just going to skip around your idea and everything this morning because it's an
Yeah.
awesome idea. And I was like, I just want you to understand, what it's like to have a dynamic idea and to know that, what, no matter what financially, we've got your back, Seeds of Greatness.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that end of hey, your idea and everything, because that's the least thing you should be worrying about in everything. You ought to
Right.
just be thinking about how to execute that idea. You shouldn't have to be worrying about, the financial aspect and everything about, your ideas, because I know you're just as creative as me and everything. Um, you come up, man, with some awesome things that are for our people and everything. And so I'm like, I know if it's coming from Shay and everything, man, it's going to be good. It is going to be extremely
Golly.
awesome.
Well, that brings us back to the funding and
Uh-huh.
systematic racism. Why is it that it may be, for example, the project or whatever, you're put in a room with different people, and it seems like you would hope that the people in charge are able to just execute those ideas or the budget or whatever. But I think it puts the idea in hyper gear, and it gets me excited about the idea when it's the help of another black person or African American community member able to do that. I think is it would mean more than just wherever else funding would come from, because it number one shows that there, listen, we made it. There are people who are able to do this. Um, and like you said, it's a long process. You have to have a clear vision. You have to believe in that vision, which is the hardest.
That's right.
But when I'm at that point, I hope to do that for somebody else. And then it just turns into like a cycle of giving, receiving something to be able to give something. And then hopefully we're in the room talking with someone else who's able to do the same thing.
That's right. You said, it's all about having those conversations with our next generation and being able to have a conversation with them about ownership, not about asking for a seat at a table or anything, but you know what, that we so linked up in that we networking so hard and everything that, what, hey, it's all about ownership. It's all about your brand and everything. It's all about,
But
diversify.
we're not taught
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
We're
yep,
never, we're not, those aren't important things that we're being taught. And sadly, they come later to haunt us because either you have to be in the room with someone like you, happen to run into somebody who's doing the same thing, which is it can be extremely hard if you're not in the same group of people that think alike and think like you. But it sucks. There's so many people that have great ideas, but they just never been in the room with someone who can help execute them. So I think that's what Seeds of Greatness and even the podcast We Come to Take You Higher it's a great platform for not just me and you. I think it's a great platform for other people who hear this and are like, "Oh my goodness, I have something to say about that." Or wait, what did she just say? To jump on. And I think that's why I want to make it very clear that any suggestions or ideas or if someone wants to hop on, we're all for it.
okay, all right, all right, yeah. And that's what we want. We want people to, be a part of this and everything, and share not just their ideas, but be able to share in the conversation, because we've got a way for, them to be able to, hey, tap into this and everything. And
Yes,
so,
tap in.
yeah, tap in.
Tap
It's
in.
something
Speaking of
to-
tapping in, should we introduce ourselves?
okay, sure, yeah.
Okay. Well, I know I just put you in the hot seat, but I'll ask you a couple of questions. So, first and foremost, your name in case they forgot, and in case it's not on the bottom left corner of the screen.
All right, because it's not on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen and everything. Good
Yeah.
morning, everybody. I am Damion Young. All right.
Perfect. And where were you born? And now where do you currently reside?
I was born in East Oakland, California. I'm gonna put the East Oakland there, not West Oakland, not North Oakland, but East Oakland, rigorously East Oakland.
Oh, yes.
And now I
Wait,
reside
Oakland.
in, unfortunately, Vancouver,
Oh,
Washington.
not the unfortunate. Can we
Yes.
have one fortunate thing about Vancouver quickly?
You know
What's
what?
a pro about living in Vancouver?
One pro about living in Vancouver is, man, I love the greenness out here. I
Oh,
love,
Lord, not
you know, the the trees and being outside when it's on a
so nature.
nice summer day and everything, and just get all of that you don't get from inner city life.
Does Oakland not have, they have warm weather year round?
Uh, I
You guys have
mean,
a winter, right?
because it's no, we don't have winter like they have out in that like they have here. We don't get snow like that. If we got snow in the Bay Area, it'd be like the end of the world, you know?
You guys have on a fleece, a North Face, three things of boots. Man.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you
And
guys
so
get rain though?
yeah, we get rain and everything because it's right there. We're right off the bay and everything.
I
And
never been
so
in the Bay, obviously, but not as much rain as Vancouver because we know like we can be streaks. It can be 4 or 5, 6 weeks and it's just pouring.
okay, okay. All right.
But so we know that you operate and founded a great ministry, and
Okay.
I will let you plug all that info in there. Can you tell us about that and how'd you come up with the name?
Um well, let me tell you a little bit about Seeds of Greatness Ministries and everything. Seeds of Greatness Ministries and everything, make a long story short, we're seeking the lost and the wounded, empowering the powerless, and helping people recognize that greatness lies within them. How did I come up with the name? Um, I don't know. I just,
It was just
um,
there. It
no, it
clicked.
wasn't. It wasn't really there. It was just like, I just knew that there was greatness in people, and it's all about planting that seed of greatness in them. It's like, when me and you first met and everything, I was like, well, this is what I want to do with you and everything. And you're like, oh, okay. I'm like, if I got one goal and everything, I don't have no hidden agenda and everything. My goal is like to plant that seed of greatness within you because you're great. You know, I
Goodness.
recognized off the back and everything your creative ability, our ability to vibe and create stuff. And as a result, we created this and everything. So I knew, there were like no limits for you. And so, really, that's really what we wanted to do in Seeds of Greatness and everything was to plant that seed within people.
That's great. No
Okay.
pun intended, but that's great. That is great right there. So, moving on, these are some fun questions. I guess if you could have any superpower and think about them all, what would it be?
All right. It would be laser vision. I'm just
Why laser vision?
because I'm just like totally on vision. It's all about um, not.
So you mean like laser vision, no outside distractions? Like I want to do this, and I got like laser focus.
That's right, laser
Okay,
focus.
okay,
Yep, I've got
I like.
laser
Never
focus.
thought of that before. I like
Okay,
that though.
okay, yeah.
Okay, and I always ask everybody who I partner up with for anything, your all-time favorite go-to Super Bowl snack. And I know you watch football. You can go ahead and tell them your team.
Yep. The Oakland Raiders, not
Ooh,
Las
Lord.
Vegas, but Oakland Raiders. And I would have to say my favorite Super Bowl snack that I'm gonna go with, man, when we watch the Super Bowl is nachos.
Do you make them?
Yep.
You make them from scratch for everybody?
Yes.
You do a big old batch. Okay, I'm
Big old
there.
batch. All right, Shay. Well, let me go ahead and ask you some questions this morning, since it's only right that because you asked me some, I ask you some.
Absolutely.
Do you want to go ahead and tell everybody your name?
My name is Shay, as it says on the bottom left corner.
All right. And where were you born?
I was born in Portland, Oregon, and I now live in the beautiful Vancouver, Washington.
Okay.
What'd
My,
you say about it? You said, unfortunately. That's how I feel part of the time too. Yeah, it's too
okay.
small.
All right. So, what is your next question I want to ask is what is your college mascot?
A eagle and a cougar. But I have my heart is always gonna be an eagle because Eastern was that's my heart. I made some memories there. But I mean a cougar alumni. So I'm gonna say let's go with just an eagle and a cougar.
Okay. What do you like about the eagle?
Oh gosh, what is there not to like? I mean, I don't know. You know when you it's just it was the community, it was college. I loved everything about it. I lived college to the fullest extent, as I'm sure a lot of you viewers, from the dorms all the way up. So that's my second home.
All right. All right. So, what is your favorite community event?
I was a last Thursday fanatic, like in the very beginning before it got a little hectic. Because I mean, you can't argue that food, friends, drinks, music, dancing, shopping, all in one place. I mean, are you kidding me? So that's it for me.
So Shay, if somebody, because I didn't know about the last Thursday until you like told me about it, and so can you tell them a little bit about last Thursday? Somebody
I
might
wish
not
we had
know.
like a I wish we had like a last Thursday rep I could just phone real quick to put him on Zoom. I'm not a great spokesperson for this event because I came there for one thing to see my friends. But
Okay.
no, it was really now that I'm older though. 'Cause, God, I haven't been a last Thursday since I was probably what 21. I'm a lot older now. But back in the day, from a business and a grown up perspective, it was really just small businesses in that neighborhood of Alberta coming together. And it would be great to have a booth over there. But like I said, we haven't had last Thursday for many Thursdays ago,
Okay.
sadly.
All right. Well, question number four: if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Invisibility, a fly on
Okay.
the wall.
Invisibility. You want to be a fly on the wall,
I do.
huh? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, what is your all-time go-to Super Bowl snack?
You said nachos. I originally said Doritos, but now that you're talking about nachos, it's gonna have to be nachos.
Okay. Because
Because
I
I
know.
didn't know we were. I said snack, so I thought
Uh-huh.
we were doing like a snack, like okay, little snack. You said nachos, which
That's a
is like
snack.
full. That's not a snack.
That is not no full meal.
You
Have
make like
you
rice.
ever eaten nachos and then
Yes. What
you're
do you put on your
hungry?
nachos?
Okay, all right. So
What do
that's
you
a
put on
no.
your nachos? Tell everybody what you put on your
I
nachos.
put I start off with my
Don't
nacho
be shy.
and the cheese and the good cheese. You get the good cheese, then you put on your ground
'Cause-
beef. You put that on, or either carne asada, and then you
Yep.
put on, hey, your refried beans and everything,
We're on
sour
the same
cream,
page.
guacamole, tomatoes, olives,
The snack?
yeah, green onions.
Oh Lord, I don't want to know what a dinner is then.
Yeah, that's a snack.
Cause a snack I think of like some Doritos and dip or some like chips and salsa snack. You said nachos. I was like, okay, so we're talking about whole dinners. Pizza, spaghetti.
You think pizza
Anyway.
is dinner? I know I'm just messing with
Huh?
you.
Okay, I think it's time to end this here.
Okay, all right, all right. And so, other than that, those are our questions and everything. We want to thank you this morning for watching the DNS show and everything. We know that we centered this show on what I'm trying to say is that we centered the show on COVID-19 and helping Afro Americans access the vaccination. But that's not the only thing that we wanted to do on this show. We wanted to have candid conversation like we're doing today. And we were just sitting around talking about, what does it look like for Afro Americans in our community now that it is time for us to make a name for ourselves? It is
Absolutely.
time for us to make a name for ourselves. What does that look like? We just wanted to explore that a little bit this morning. So thank you for tuning in, watching the DNS show. Shay, do you got any last comments for them? this morning?
No, I think just stay tuned because if there are any of you on here who did want to know COVID specific facts or fiction or go over some myths, I think we are going to be bringing to you shortly like a Mythbusters episode. So going over some of these fun and outlandish myths that we hear. So we will fill you guys in and launch that as soon as we have it done. And like both of us said, feel free to send us an email, reach out on social medias, whatever you guys want to do. We're an open book. So thanks for tuning in.
Okay. And last before you go, how can they what's the email address?
The Damien. I'm gonna have to look at my phone. One sec. You
Okay.
caught me. You knew too. You were looking right at me. It was like a test.
All right. Well, I got it for you. So if
Okay.
you want to go ahead and you want to go ahead and email us at Vancouver, the DS show. That is Vancouver, VANCOUVERS, the D and S dot show at gmail.com. So
You
that
said it.
is, yep. You can email us at that. So thank you for tuning in this morning. Have a awesome morning. And hey, stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. See you guys later.